Self-respect is not something you announce. It is something people feel the moment they interact with you. It shows up in how you listen, how you speak, how you pause before responding, and even in how comfortable you are with silence. Many confuse attraction with effort, believing that doing more, giving more, explaining more, adjusting more will increase their value, but the truth is simpler and more uncomfortable. The more you overextend yourself to be liked, the less you are respected, and without respect, attraction cannot survive. Self-respect begins when you stop negotiating your worth, when you no longer try to convince someone that you are enough. Something shifts internally. Your energy settles, your reactions slow down, you stop chasing approval and start observing behavior. This inner shift is subtle, but it is powerful. People are drawn to those who stand firmly on their own ground, not those who are constantly reshaping themselves to fit someone else's expectations. When you respect yourself, you don't rush, you don't over-explain, you don't feel the need to fill every silence with words, or every gap with effort. You allow space, and space creates curiosity. Effort tries to impress, self-respect allows others to discover. One pushes, the other attracts. There is something deeply compelling about a person who knows when to step back, not because they are afraid of losing someone, but because they are not afraid of losing themselves. That calm confidence communicates a message without saying a word. I value myself enough to walk away from what doesn't honor me, and that message is far more attractive than any attempt to please. Self-respect also changes how you respond to attention. You don't cling to it and you don't fear its absence. You enjoy it when it's healthy, and you let it go when it's inconsistent. This emotional steadiness is rare, and rarity attracts. When someone realizes that your sense of worth doesn't rise or fall based on their interests, they perceive you as emotionally strong, grounded, and secure. These qualities invite attention naturally because they feel safe and real. Many people exhaust themselves trying to be chosen. But self-respect shifts the focus inward. Instead of asking, "Do they like me?" you begin asking, "Do I like how I feel around them?" This reversal is transformative. It puts you back in control of your emotional world. And paradoxically, when you stop trying to earn attention, attention often appears. Because confidence that doesn't beg is magnetic. Respecting yourself also means honoring your standards without apology. You don't lower them to avoid loneliness, and you don't raise your voice to enforce them. You simply live by them. And people either rise to meet you or fall away. Both outcomes are victories. Because attraction built on self-respect does not fear loss, it understands that the wrong connection costs more than solitude. There is a quiet dignity in someone who doesn't compete for attention. They don't compare themselves to others. They don't feel threatened by beauty, charisma, or popularity. They know that attraction is not a contest but a resonance. When you are at peace with who you are, you stop seeing others as rivals and start seeing connections as choices. That inner peace is visible. It shows in your posture, your eye contact, your tone, and it draws people in effortlessly. Self-respect also protects you from overgiving. You no longer pour your energy into people who are unsure, inconsistent, or emotionally unavailable. You give where there is reciprocity. This balance creates a dynamic where your presence is valued, not taken for granted. Because what is always available is rarely appreciated, but what is given with intention carries weight. Attraction is not about being perfect, it's about being whole, and self-respect is what makes you whole. It allows you to stand in your truth without defending it, to be open without being desperate, to be warm without losing boundaries. When you embody that balance, attention becomes a response, not a goal. Emotional independence is often misunderstood. Many assume it means being cold, distant, or uninterested. In reality, it is none of those things. Emotional independence is the ability to enjoy connection without being consumed by it. It is knowing how to care without clinging, how to desire without depending, and how to open your heart without handing over the responsibility for your happiness. This balance is rare, and rarity naturally attracts attention. When you are emotionally independent, you don't wait for someone else to define your mood, your value, or your direction. A message arriving late doesn't ruin your day. Silence doesn't trigger anxiety. You don't read meaning into every pause or overanalyze every word. Your emotional center remains steady, anchored within you. This inner stability is deeply appealing because it signals maturity and self-trust. People are drawn to those who are emotionally whole, not because they need rescuing, but because they don't. Emotional independence sends a clear, quiet message: I choose you, but I don't need you to complete me. And that distinction changes everything. Choice creates desire, need creates pressure, attraction grows in freedom, not in obligation. When someone senses that your happiness doesn't depend on their attention, they relax around you. There is no unspoken demand, no emotional weight they must carry. This sense of emotional safety makes your presence inviting. It allows curiosity to develop naturally, without the fear of being responsible for someone else's emotional world. In that space, attention flows easily. Emotionally independent people also know how to enjoy solitude. They don't treat being alone as a failure or a void to be filled. They see it as a space where they reconnect with themselves. This comfort with solitude is powerful because it shows that your life is already full, and fullness attracts. No one is drawn to emptiness disguised as urgency, but many are drawn to someone who is already at peace. Another subtle aspect of emotional independence is how you respond to uncertainty. You don't panic when things are undefined. You allow time to reveal intentions. You observe patterns instead of chasing explanations. This patience is attractive because it reflects confidence in your own resilience. You trust that you will be okay regardless of the outcome. And trust in yourself often inspires trust in others. Emotional independence also shapes how you communicate. You speak honestly without oversharing. You express interest without losing your balance. You don't use emotions as a bargaining tool or attention as validation. This clarity makes interactions feel clean and genuine. People feel seen without being overwhelmed, appreciated without being controlled. There is also strength in how emotionally independent people handle rejection or disinterest. They don't personalize it. They don't internalize someone else's inability to connect as a reflection of their worth. They understand that attraction is selective, not universal. This self-assurance is magnetic because it shows emotional intelligence, the ability to separate identity from outcome. Me. When you stop needing constant reassurance, your energy changes. You become calmer, more present, more authentic. You listen better, you laugh more freely. You engage because you want to, not because you fear losing attention. This authenticity is felt immediately, and authenticity, when paired with emotional stability, creates a quiet kind of allure that doesn't fade with time. Emotionally independent people don't chase emotional highs. They don't confuse intensity with intimacy. They understand that real connection grows slowly, through consistency and mutual interest. This grounded approach to connection stands out in a world that often confuses urgency with passion. And what stands out is noticed. Attraction, at its healthiest, is a meeting of two complete individuals, not a merging of unmet needs. When you embody emotional independence, you invite attention that is respectful, intentional, and sincere. You don't attract chaos, you attract curiosity. You don't attract pressure, you attract presence. Silence is often mistaken for absence, weakness, or disinterest. In reality, silence can be one of the most powerful forms of communication. It is not empty, it is intentional. When you are comfortable with this silence, you reveal a deep sense of self-trust. You are not rushing to fill space, not scrambling to impress, not afraid of being misunderstood. This calm presence speaks before words ever do. Many people talk too much because they are anxious about how they are perceived. They explain themselves repeatedly, justify their feelings, narrate their actions, and offer details that were never asked for. This is not connection. It is self-defense disguised as conversation. Silence, on the other hand, shows confidence. It says, I am at ease with who I am, even if you don't fully understand me yet. Calm is equally misunderstood. It is not emotional distance or indifference. Calm is emotional regulation. It is the ability to remain grounded regardless of external noise. When you stay calm, you don't react impulsively. You don't escalate tension. You don't allow someone else's confusion to become your urgency. This emotional steadiness is deeply attractive because it creates a sense of safety and clarity. There is something magnetic about a person who listens without interrupting, who pauses before responding, who allows conversations to breathe. Silence gives weight to your words. When you speak less, what you say carries more meaning. Your voice becomes intentional rather than reactive. People lean in when they sense that your words are chosen, not scattered. Silence also allows mystery to exist. Not the kind built on games or manipulation, but the natural mystery that comes from not revealing everything at once. When you don't rush to explain your thoughts, your plans, or your emotions, you invite curiosity. Curiosity is a quiet pull. It draws attention gently without force. Effort tries to be seen, silence allows itself to be discovered. Calm behavior during emotional moments is especially powerful. When others expect you to react with anxiety, jealousy, or defensiveness, and you respond with composure, it leaves an impression. Calmness communicates inner strength. It shows that you are not ruled by fear or impulse. This kind of emotional maturity stands out because it is rare. Silence also protects your energy. You don't need to respond to everything. Not every comment requires an explanation. Not every question deserves an answer. Knowing when to speak and when to remain quiet is a form of self-respect. It tells others that your attention is valuable and not freely scattered. And what is valued is noticed. In moments of attraction, silence can be more seductive than words. A relaxed pause, a steady gaze, a soft smile without immediate explanation. These signals create connection without pressure. They allow the other person to step forward, to wonder, to engage. Attraction grows in this space because it feels natural, not forced. Calm silence also changes how conflict is perceived. Instead of escalating situations, you create room for reflection. You don't argue to win, you pause to understand. This approach doesn't weaken your position, it strengthens it. It shows that you are emotionally secure enough to choose peace over proving a point. And emotional security is one of the most attractive traits there is. Many underestimate the impact of simply being present. Not performing, not impressing, just being. Presence is felt when your mind is not racing to say the right thing. Your body relaxes, your expressions soften, and your energy settles. People sense this and feel drawn to it, often without knowing why. Silence and calm are not about withholding yourself. They are about trusting that you don't need to overexpose yourself to be seen. They reflect a deep understanding that attraction is not created through noise, but through resonance. When you are centered, others feel it. When you are calm, others mirror it. When you are silent, others listen. Boundaries are often misunderstood as walls, as rigidity, or as a lack of warmth. In truth, boundaries are clarity. They are the quiet agreements you make with yourself about what you will accept, what you will not tolerate, and where you choose to invest your emotional energy. When your boundaries are clear, you don't need to explain them constantly. They show up naturally in your behavior, in your choices, and in the way you carry yourself. And that clarity is far more attractive than any physical feature. Many people rely on appearance to hold attention, believing beauty alone is enough to sustain interest. Beauty may catch the eye, but boundaries hold the mind and the heart. When someone senses that you respect your time, your emotions, and your values, they instinctively treat you with more care. Boundaries signal self-worth. They say, without words, I know my value and I protect it. Boundaries are not enforced through confrontation or emotional outbursts. They are expressed through consistency. When you don't answer late-night messages that disrespect your time, when you walk away from conversations that feel dismissive, when you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, you are communicating strength. This strength creates attraction because it reflects inner stability. There's something deeply compelling about a person who doesn't tolerate confusion or mixed signals. When your boundaries are intact, You don't chase clarity from someone who offers inconsistency. You observe. You adjust. You step back if needed. This calm response shows emotional intelligence. It tells others that access to you is earned through respect, not persistence. Boundaries also protect you from overgiving. You don't pour your energy into connections that drain you or make you doubt yourself. Instead, you reserve your warmth for those who meet you with the same level of care. This selectiveness is attractive because it shows discernment. You are not closed off, you are intentional. And intention is magnetic. When boundaries are weak, attraction becomes unstable. You may be desired but not respected. You may receive attention but not consistency. Strong boundaries shift this dynamic. They filter out those who are looking for convenience rather than connection. And what remains is attention that is more genuine, more focused, and more lasting. Boundaries also free you from the need to control how others behave. You stop trying to change people and start deciding how close they get to you. This shift restores your power. You are no longer reacting, you are choosing. And choice is the foundation of confidence. People often fear that setting boundaries will push others away, but the opposite is true. Boundaries repel those who are not aligned and attract those who value respect. Those who disappear when you maintain your standards were never there for you to begin with. And those who remain are drawn to the clarity and strength you represent. Attraction thrives in environments where expectations are clear. When people know where they stand with you, they feel more secure engaging with you. Your boundaries create emotional safety, not distance. They make interactions cleaner, calmer, and more honest. It's important to understand that boundaries don't need to be loud. You don't need to announce them. You live them. You show them by not accepting what diminishes you. You show them by choosing peace over chaos. You show them by leaving situations that cost you your self-respect. And this quiet firmness is incredibly attractive. Boundaries also deepen your sense of self. Each time you honor one, you reinforce your own trust in yourself. That self-trust is visible. It reflects in your posture, your tone, your decisions. Others may not be able to name it, but they feel it. And what is felt is remembered. Chasing is often romanticized as passion, effort, or proof of interest, but beneath it, chasing is usually fear. Fear of being overlooked, fear of losing connection, fear of not being enough. And fear, no matter how well disguised, is not attractive. Confidence grows not when you run toward attention, but when you stop running after it and allow it to move toward you. When you chase, you place yourself in a position of imbalance. You lean forward emotionally while the other person leans back. You respond too quickly, explain too much, adapt too often. None of this comes from genuine connection, it comes from anxiety. And anxiety communicates uncertainty about your own worth. Attraction needs balance to survive. When one person pursues and the other evaluates, desire weakens. Stopping the chase doesn't mean becoming distant or indifferent. It means returning to your center. It means allowing interest to grow organically instead of forcing momentum. When you slow down, you give space for curiosity. And curiosity is far more powerful than pursuit. People are drawn to what they feel invited to explore, not what demands their attention. Confidence is built in the pause. In the moment when you don't immediately react, when you don't send the follow-up message, when you don't ask for reassurance. These small acts of restraint reinforce your self-trust. Each time you choose calm over urgency, you strengthen your inner stability. And that stability becomes visible. When you stop chasing, your attention becomes selective. You begin to notice how others show up rather than how you can show up better. You observe consistency instead of chasing potential. This shift is empowering. It places you in the position of choice rather than pursuit, and people are naturally more attracted to those who choose rather than those who plead. There is also dignity in allowing someone to meet you halfway. Chasing removes that opportunity. It deprives the other person of the chance to invest, to initiate, to reveal their level of interest. When you step back, you create space for reciprocity. And reciprocity is the foundation of healthy attraction. Confidence also grows when you realize that walking away is an option. You don't cling to interest that is inconsistent or half-hearted. You trust that you will be okay without it. This trust transforms how you carry yourself. Your energy becomes calmer, your reactions softer, your expectations clearer. And calm confidence is magnetic. People often mistake intensity for connection. Chasing creates intensity, but not depth. It burns quickly and leaves uncertainty behind. Stepping back allows connection to deepen at a natural pace. It creates room for shared experiences rather than emotional pressure. And shared experiences, not emotional chasing, build lasting attraction. When you stop chasing, you also stop competing. You no longer compare yourself to others or worry about being replaced. You understand that attraction is not about outperforming someone else, but about alignment. Either there is resonance or there isn't, and you don't exhaust yourself trying to force it. This mindset is freeing. It allows you to enjoy connection without attachment to outcome. You engage fully, but you don't lose yourself. You express interest, but you don't abandon your standards. This balance sends a powerful signal. You are open, but not dependent. Confidence rooted in non-chasing is quiet but unmistakable. It shows in your body language, your tone, your timing. You are no longer trying to secure attention. You are allowing it to reveal itself. And that shift is often when attention becomes more focused, more sincere. Attraction changes when you stop trying to control it, when you trust that the right connection will move toward you naturally, without force. That trust relaxes you, and relaxed energy invites engagement, because the moment you stop chasing is the moment you remember that you are already enough. Chasing is often mistaken for passion, effort, or proof of interest, but beneath it, chasing is usually fear. Fear of being overlooked, fear of losing connection, fear of not being enough. And fear, no matter how well disguised, is not attractive. Confidence grows not when you run toward attention, but when you stop running after it and allow it to move toward you. When you chase, you place yourself in a position of imbalance. You lean forward emotionally while the other person leans back. You respond too quickly, explain too much, adapt too often. None of this comes from genuine connection, it comes from anxiety. And anxiety communicates uncertainty about your own worth. Attraction needs balance to survive. When one person pursues and the other evaluates, desire weakens. Stopping the chase doesn't mean becoming distant or indifferent. It means returning to your center. It means allowing interest to grow organically instead of forcing momentum. When you slow down, you give space for curiosity. And curiosity is far more powerful than pursuit. People are drawn to what they feel invited to explore, not what demands their attention. Confidence is built in the pause, in the moment when you don't immediately react, when you don't send a follow-up message, when you don't ask for reassurance. These small acts of restraint reinforce your self-trust. Each time you choose calm over urgency, you strengthen your inner stability, and that stability becomes visible. When you stop chasing, your attention becomes selective. You begin to notice how others show up rather than how you can show up better. You observe consistency instead of chasing potential. This shift is empowering. It places you in the position of choice rather than pursuit. And people are naturally more attracted to those who choose rather than those who plead. There is also dignity in allowing someone to meet you halfway. Chasing removes that opportunity. It deprives the other person of the chance to invest, to initiate, to reveal their level of interest. When you step back, you create space for reciprocity. And reciprocity is the foundation of healthy attraction. Confidence also grows when you realize that walking away is an option. You don't cling to interest that is inconsistent or half-hearted. You trust that you will be okay without it. This trust transforms how you carry yourself. Your energy becomes calmer, your reactions softer, your expectations clearer. And calm confidence is magnetic. People often mistake intensity for connection. Chasing creates intensity but not depth. It burns quickly and leaves uncertainty behind. Stepping back allows connection to deepen at a natural pace. It creates room for shared experiences rather than emotional pressure. And shared experiences, not emotional chasing, build lasting attraction. When you stop chasing, you also stop competing. You no longer compare yourself to others or worry about being replaced. You understand that attraction is not about outperforming someone else, but about alignment. Either there is resonance or there isn't. And you don't exhaust yourself trying to force it. This mindset is freeing. It allows you to enjoy connection without attachment to outcome. You engage fully, but you don't lose yourself. You express interest, but you don't abandon your standards. This balance sends a powerful signal: you are open but not dependent. Confidence rooted in non-chasing is quiet but unmistakable. It shows in your body language, your tone, your timing. You are no longer trying to secure attention, you are allowing it to reveal itself. And that shift is often when attention becomes more focused, more sincere. Attraction changes when you stop trying to control it. When you trust that the right connection will move toward you naturally, without force. That trust relaxes you. And relaxed energy invites engagement. Stability is not something you perform. It is something you cultivate quietly over time. It is the result of knowing yourself well enough that external reactions no longer shake your sense of identity. When your inner world is steady, attention becomes optional rather than essential. And this is where true attraction begins, not in the desire to be seen, but in the comfort of being yourself, whether you are seen or not. People who are internally stable do not rush to define themselves through relationships. They enjoy connection, but they are not consumed by it. Their sense of worth does not rise with admiration or fall with indifference. This emotional neutrality is powerful because it signals self-mastery. You are not controlled by approval, and you are not threatened by its absence. That balance is rare, and rarity attracts. Inner stability changes how you respond to uncertainty. Instead of panicking when things feel unclear, you remain curious. You observe rather than assume. You give situations time to reveal themselves. This patience reflects confidence in your own resilience. You trust that you can handle whatever outcome comes, and that trust removes desperation from your energy. When your inner foundation is strong, rejection loses its power. It may sting, but it does not define you. You understand that someone else's lack of interest is not a verdict on your value. This understanding frees you from personalizing every interaction. And when you are free from that burden, you show up more authentically, more relaxed, more present. Authentic presence is deeply attractive because it feels real and unforced. Inner stability also influences how you communicate. You speak honestly without oversharing. You express interest without losing balance. You don't use emotional reactions to test or manipulate. Instead, you communicate from clarity rather than fear. This creates interactions that feel clean and grounded, where attention flows naturally rather than being negotiated. People with inner stability are not in a hurry to label or define connections. They allow relationships to unfold at their own pace. They don't rush intimacy or force emotional closeness. This patience creates safety. It allows attraction to deepen organically without pressure. And pressure is often what suffocates desire. There is also quiet confidence in how internally stable people handle silence and distance. They don't interpret it as rejection. They don't chase explanations. They understand that space is part of human interaction. This understanding keeps their emotional world balanced and their behavior composed. And composed energy draws attention because it feels secure. Inner stability is built through self-awareness, through knowing your values, your limits, your emotional patterns. It grows when you honor your needs instead of ignoring them to please others. Each time you choose alignment over approval, you strengthen your internal foundation. And that foundation supports everything else. Your boundaries, your calm, your confidence. When you are internally stable, you don't seek to impress. You don't need to sell yourself. You allow others to experience you as you are. This authenticity creates a natural filter. Those who resonate stay. Those who don't move on. And neither outcome threatens your peace. Attraction rooted in inner stability is different. It is not loud or urgent. It is steady, warm, and reassuring. It invites rather than demands. It feels safe without being dull, confident without being arrogant. This balance makes your presence memorable. Ultimately, inner stability allows you to release control. You stop trying to manage how others feel about you. You trust that the right connections will recognize your value without persuasion. And that trust transforms how you move through the world. Calmer, clearer, more grounded.